Hey, this is Kieran with Middletown Midi Soccer, and today I was going to talk about strength training for soccer. One of the big things that I have come to realize with my first year under my belt at the high school level is that, especially in the league that we play in with the GMC here in Southwest Ohio, there are grown men playing the game of soccer in these high school matches, and just physically are just gifted, just tall, strong, fast, and so one of the things that I've really put at the top of my priority list is what can I do to help get my players stronger physically and quicker and all those types of things, and help with their endurance. And I've reached out on Twitter, and I've reached out to other coaches via email and text and stuff. And the one thing that I'm striving for and I want to start working toward is more of like soccer specific strength training. So exercises that actually connect to or apply to the game of soccer. And so a lot of the things that you get back are just your kind of generic blueprint, I would say, of strength training, and I think they're awesome. I think anything you can do to get a kid stronger is going to be beneficial. It's going to strengthen, the muscles, ligaments, joints, all those things that you need to worry about. But specifically for me, you look at the game of soccer. There's a lot of running. Just the idea of certain aspects of the game or actions. So, for instance, passing and receiving, a lot of on one leg, so maybe ankle mobility, calf strength, knee joint strength, hamstrings, the ability to take your foot across your body, which requires mobility, and little things like that. And again, your core. Does having a player that can bench press 215 pounds help you on the soccer field? Yes, but where does it transfer? So maybe it's a goalie, so now they're distributing but with their hands, so when they throw the ball out, they can do it a little bit farther. Those are just things that I'm thinking about. Like for me personally, I'm a CrossFit kind of dude. I love the varied workouts. Every time I go to the gym, it's a different setup, it's a different stimulus, a different kind of focus, but it still works my whole body. But my intent is that as I continue to get older, then I'm able to be active and work in the yard and play pickup basketball and just be as strong and youthful as possible, even as I get older age-wise. Does that transfer into the game of soccer? Maybe a little bit of the endurance, the mental side, all those types of things. But I think one of the things, and I hope to share that throughout in these kind of coaches moments, is what can I do to take great exercises like cleans and deadlifts and bench press, squat, push press, core exercises. The more I get into these types of things, there's all this movement left and right and turning. So getting away from the old ideas of crunches, and even the more I read, and just kind of throwing this out there, is just the lack of what's the point of a Russian twist type of thing, where it doesn't really ideally hit what you want it to hit, and little things like that. Like I'm doing a lot of research, getting a lot of feedback from coaches, and like I said, the fact that I think that people are working out and getting their kids in the gym is a huge bonus. But also, with that said, I want to prepare my players to be not only stronger, but use that strength to be more successful on the field. So those 1v1 duels, receiving the ball, to shooting, what can I do to replicate the movements that they're doing in games and put them into the gym where we're strengthening that movement, so we're constantly building on it. So seeing a lot of things about like lunges, that's the position that you're in a lot when you're running. So what can I do to integrate that idea of your running form into our box jumps or into our landing. A lot of jumping for balls, and what have you, and movement in the air, and just the ability to land, and then quickly go in a different direction. So I think there's a lot that is in my brain that I'm thinking about, and having some, like I said, some cool conversations about it. And just I'm going to start doing some more video type things and sharing just some of the things that I'm thinking about and working with my group as we get into the off season. I know COVID has changed things for sure with everybody, and what have you, and that'll be something that everyone's got to deal with. So I think finding ways, number one, to get around that a little bit, and deal with that in a healthy way, and get the kids going. But I think my big takeaway right now, talking to coaches, is the way that a football team trains and lifts is going to be different than soccer. The demands on the body are different. So like football, it's like a lot of upper body pushing, a lot of lower body, like two-leg type things. And even within a team of football players, I would think that a quarterback is going to be doing different things. A lot more core, a lot more strengthening their shoulder areas, a lot of mobility, so getting that motion down, so strengthening the wrists and the fingers, and just all the little things I think that go into it. Versus if I'm an offensive lineman, I'm working on a lot of this movement, pushes, a lot of pulling type things just to work on my back, and really just that stability on 2 feet. Whereas maybe a running back's doing a lot more sprints, a lot more one-legged type work. And so, like I said, I'm just looking for that. What's the next thing that I can do to help? So, the boys did a great job this past fall in terms of getting into the gym. They bought into it and got after it and got stronger. But we were, just to be honest, doing a lot of, we did a lot of bench, push, press, bent over row, a lot of kind of core type things like bear crawls and such. We did a lot of sled pushes, which I think are huge and are something we're going to keep in it, because I think that works on that lower body. You're running with it. So I think sled pushes and pulls, farmers carries, all those little things I think we'll keep incorporating into our program. But I want to be able to my other goal is to be able to give kids a kind of a mark as to where we want to be. So I'd love to be able to say to a freshman, hey, here's the expectations when you come in terms of the physical demands in the gym. So I know that's kind of old school, maybe is not even possible. And so the more I get into this, we'll see that. But I know for like football teams, a lot of times it's how many reps you can get at 135 on bench, and how many deadlifts you can get at 225, and how many squats you can do at 225 as well, or whatever the mark might be. And a lot of times I think I've seen where people say at a freshman level you need to be benching 135 times whatever, at least once. And if you're all the way up to like a senior, and the expectation is, hey, you're doing 135 5 or more times. And if you're at that elite senior, maybe you're doing 135 10 plus or whatever. That's kind of the direction that I'm going. And I would love to keep getting feedback, and I'll keep kind of sharing this type of stuff, doing a lot more video type thing, because I'm a talker, and what have you. But always like to write things down, but I think sometimes I lose track of where I'm at with that. But this is just first one. I don't know what I'll call this. Maybe coach's thoughts or my mini rants, and just keep kind of sharing. And hopefully this is beneficial for some coaches. If you guys have ideas, hit me up and let me know. I appreciate it. This is Kieran with Midi Soccer, and I'm out.